Hello, it's Cranky Old Bastard, JP Hrisoulas again. Tonight we're going to discuss the use of meteoric iron in blade making. There has been a lot of speculation, a lot of myths, and very little real hard research in this. But it goes back a long ways. The use of meteoric iron extraterrestrial material in making blades. The first one that they can find, that they've actually been able to date, is the Alachuyuk meteorite blade in Turkey. This predates the Tutankhamun find by about 1,000 years, with the Tutankhamun dagger being gold mounted with a meteoric blade. Beautiful, beautiful blade. There were two daggers found in that tomb by Mr. Clark, one of which had the meteoric iron blade, the other one had a golden blade, solid gold. And the latter was actually reproduced by Buster Warinsky back in the old late 1970s, early 1980s, right around there. Exquisite work, fantastic piece of art. But I digress, back out to the meteorites. There are other accounts, the ones like the one given to the Sikh Mughal Emperor Jahangir around 1620. He was presented with a piece of meteorite that he gave to his swordsmith, Usad Dahoud. There are accounts of the working of that being quite difficult, that the swordsmith, Mr. Dahoud, had to alloy it with, as he put it, married it to some of his finest steel. And the two resulting swords were very good quality, which I actually would contribute to the skill of the swordsmith, not so much the presence of meteoric iron. There's also several instances of other blades being made. The sword presented to Tsar Alexander I in Russia in 1814 was also made from meteoric iron. That was forged by the Maudslay and Company in Great Britain, and that was presented to the Tsar in, like I said, 1814 to commemorate the victory over Napoleon. Going east from there, there's the Hrisoulas, I can't say, the Japanese blade, that was made in 1898. Several swords were made there. Up into the modern times, meteoric iron has been used, throughout history. Lately, there's been a resurgence in the interest of it. Other blades, such as this one here, the Malaysian crease, as you can see here, this is gold mounted, but the silver on this side here above, that's palmar, that's meteoric iron. Here again, the silver, here, and up and through here, that's also palmar, which is basically meteoric iron. They're saying a lot of these were all done with meteorite. A lot of them were not. Some of the older blades were. The nickel that came into these were basically found in nodule form from volcanic eruptions from the area, and also later on the Dutch brought in a lot of nickel steel for the ampoos to use. It's for trade items. So, but what is this stuff? It is just basically a mixture of iron and nickel for the ones that are usable. There are several different types of meteorites. There are tektites, moldavites, olivinites, stony meteorites, several different other types. But the ones that we can use are iron nickel. This is an iron nickel meteorite. This is about a 10-pound hunk. I don't even want to know what this thing's worth nowadays. I picked this up years ago from a meteorite guy down in Odessa, Texas. This is from the Odessa Fall. And it was going for 10 cents a gram. Now it's over $1 a gram. So this is probably a good $5,000 or $6,000. I would not cut this up to use because it's so nice. I use it for a doorstop. People don't believe me, but to actually see it. But it's a nice doorstop. It's like 10 pounds. Basically, the materials I use are chunks about this big. This is between a ping pong ball and a golf ball to a baseball. They're about 4, 5, 6 ounces a piece. There are places you can buy slabs of meteorite. They're very expensive here again. I buy the smaller they call shrapnels, which, for the way I work, works quite well. Working this material on a smaller piece, this stuff is very, very, very red hot, very, very red short. If you don't treat it right, and sometimes you do, it's going to crumble on you. So you basically need to wrap it in a iron or medium carbon steel. I prefer the medium carbon steel because there is no carbon content in these things. So you have to wrap it, weld it, fold it, wrap it, weld it, fold it. Just keep refining it until that material basically incorporates itself into the jacketing steel and stops falling apart. Now what all it does is really introduces basically nickel into the weld, into the blade. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, you can say it's esoteric. It is a sword from heaven. There's a legend that James Black, when he did the original Bowie knife for James Bowie, supposedly dropped a piece of meteorite into his crucible and said that, for better or worse, there's a piece of heaven or hell in that blade. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it sure is a nice story. As a matter of fact, that was used in that movie, The Iron Mistress, with Alan Ladd, about Jim Bowie and his infamous knife. But all it basically does is it gives it what they call the wow factor. Now, going back to working it, once you get the material, conglomerated and refined to the point where it holds together, you can weld that into the blade. Like I said, there is hardly any carbon in these. You're just going it for the nickel content and for the quote-unquote wow factor, as far as giving it the little extra terrestrial esoteric value to it. I use it. I use a lot of it. I've probably made more meteorite blades than anybody else in this country. I started doing it in the late 1970s, early 1980s. Tai Gu, who's a very talented smith, very, very gifted artist, we would have discussions over it, using it, and we both would cuss and spit and shake our heads, but we'd still use it. It's interesting. It's very challenging. It can be a pain in the ass. And that's on a good day. Yet some pieces just hold together and work quite well. There's no consistency in it at all. Other than that, that's basically all that meteorites do. Is it makes it pretty. But there are actually better materials you can use that would actually bring more to the table than just the ornamental value of the lamination. The number one is 15N20 L6. That has about the same amount of nickel in it that an iron nickel meteorite has. Varies between 3 and 12%, mostly in the 5 to 7% ranges you find. Other than that, that's pretty much the rundown on meteorite as far as where to get it. You can always find it yourself. You know where to look. Look up with a catcher's mitt, see if anything falls. But seriously, the stuff is very expensive. You can find it. The most common things you're going to find now is a Campo de Cielo out of South America. You can still find some of the Arizona fall from Behringer Crater. That's very expensive, as well as Dessa material from Texas. There's a couple of African falls, and I think 1 or 2 falls that happened in China. That material is just now coming into the market. I would not suggest anybody start doing this right off the bat because of the cost of the material. Learn to forge weld, learn especially how to handle red short steel, because this stuff would crumble. Even when you're careful, it's going to crumble when you first time hit it. You don't hit it hard, you hit it just enough to get it to weld. Let it, incorporate it into the material as you refine it. Let it, work its way out and become more and more uniform. Basically what you're doing is just including a color layer on these blades. That's about it for tonight. Hope you have found this discussion a little interesting. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends, neighbors, cousins, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, first, twice, second remove about this channel. Thank you very much. On a side note, I've just now acquired a actual video camera instead of using this webcam. Then I can actually start doing videos of things in the studio. This will be a little while because I have to figure out how to do it, but they are coming. So once again, thank you so much for your time. I hope this gave you some information. I'll talk to you soon. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Thank you. Good night.